So, yeah, I don't know where I'm gonna put this in the beginning or the end of the video. And it literally, I have like tried filming this little clip like for the last 20 minutes, and it's almost 2 a.m. I have work tomorrow. Like, what's going on? Basically, I'm going to be talking about a Russian author's works. And I made a decision for myself that if I was going to be purchasing books by Russian authors, I was going to then donate that amount of money to a Ukrainian organization. In this case, it is Hope for Ukraine. And if you have, a little bit of money in your pocket and you don't know what to do with it, maybe you could also donate there or to another organization. Hope for Ukraine is currently running a drive to get food to Ukraine, kind of obviously there, uh, especially as they're gearing towards winter, because that was really rough last year and it will probably be rough this year as well. I think this is still to me, this was an important book to read because it was from a lesbian Russian woman. And that I think is important because of how homophobic Russia is. I feel slightly uncomfortable talking about this because I know that it can be a little, I don't know, preachy. I just feel so underqualified to talk about any of this. And so I don't know what to say. I don't know the right thing to say, but I don't want to say nothing. I don't want to not talk about it because supporting Ukraine has become so much a part of my life. And I believe, pray, manifest, whatever hokey term you want to use, like every single day, an end to this war with a victory for Ukraine. And I know that I don't have a big channel, but this is something that I do publicly. And I don't do a lot of public stuff anymore. Like, I am not out there on social media like that. And this is the one that I am actually active in. And so if this is the place where I can maybe help encourage or think about or talk about like Ukraine even a little bit, it's something I'm going to do, And yeah, maybe this isn't something that you can incorporate into your reading, but maybe you can, watch Ukrainian creators yourself. Something that I've been doing, especially I watch a lot of ASMR, and there's some great Ukrainian ASMR artists out there. There's like Rita Muradova, who's like a fashion blogger if you're into fashion. There's like Ukrainian restaurants, like I've been to. There's like one really famous one in New York, Vasilka. But yeah, there's things you can do. And I just feel like if I have this small platform, I might as well say something. Yeah, so that's it. You've either just finished watching a video or you're about to start watching a video. Either way, I hope you're doing well. And as always, Slava Ukraini. Back to my Blitz reviews. This time it is Wound by Oksana Vasyakina, who is a Russian poet who is a lesbian. So this book will explore some of those themes. I think that this book is sort of in a way described as like semi-autobiographical. It's not a biography. It's not, but it does tell of a story that is what happened to Vasyakina, where the book deals with a lesbian Russian poet who loses her mom to breast cancer and will take her urn to the town where they kind of grew up in, Ust-Ilimsk in Siberia. And so that's the story. That's what this book ostensibly is about. But it is not a linear tale. It is mostly a tale of the narrator, who I will call Vasyakina, because I think even if this is not a real story, it is Vasyakina exploring these themes. So in the book, Vasyakina is exploring the themes of sex and relationships, especially queer ones. She's exploring poetry and why people write, what draws them forward? Who are they writing for? What makes them write? She's also looking at relationships between different people, be it like her, the mother character and the mother's lovers, be it mother-daughter relationships, and how certain things affect that relationship. It also, I think with that, I think there's an element of family trauma. There's a lot of discussion of poverty in the book. And I think there's a lot of overlap between these themes, right? So mother relationship, how it's affected by sexuality, how that's added on to maybe self-discovery, self-identity, how that comes into relationships. I think it all kind of melts together very well. I think it shows this really complex relationships between people, between oneself and one's identity. I think that the book also talks a lot about the body, the relationship to one's body. And it does so through looking at the mother character who has had to have a breast removed because of the breast cancer. And there's just a lot of really visceral description of that death, the dying process, the slow march to death, and especially one that is not powerful and grand, one that is painful and filled with sickness. The book also is not, like I said, not only is it not kind of a straight line in that the book does not just follow one person doing like one step, next step, next step. It kind of goes on these long artistic tangents. The book also does not take place in one timeline. Like we sort of see the narrator bouncing around between, before death, after death, childhood, months after the mother has been buried. But I think it keeps enough of a through line. We kind of generally know where we're supposed to be. Like once the mother is cremated, we kind of go back to maybe some childhood times or sometimes when her mother, the narrator's mother, is still sick. We don't go back to that cremation. We know that kind of thematically the story has moved on. I think it was very well written. I really enjoyed reading this. I really enjoyed reading what Vasyakina had to say about all of the themes that I've mentioned. I think that in some ways, though, this book is so intimate that I don't feel like I know Vasyakina or the character she's trying to describe, be it a stand-in for herself or not. I do not know what it would be like to meet this person on the streets. Would they be fun to hang out with? Would I be able to grab a beer with them? I don't know, isn't like the whole politician thing, vote for the guy you want to have a beer with? But it's this weird place of like being so intimate that you don't know someone. I'm seeing so much of your internal world that I don't understand the part that I would be interacting with, which is slightly external. I don't know, that just really struck me as that while I'm seeing so much of someone, it's like an x-ray. Like I can look at an x-ray and see a lot about, I wouldn't know what to look at for, but like you would see a lot about a person to see their x-ray, but you wouldn't know what they looked like. And that's how I feel about this book. I think I enjoyed this, but I also could see people just getting a little bored with it. It's kind of a long, meandering discussion on one's opinions and not very forward moving. I think it also is quite dry, and in that dryness, I think it'll lose some people. It's very matter of fact. I think that you can see that this is, that while Vasyakina writes very beautifully, she is this like free, what is it, like free form poet. She's not, you kind of think you're gonna read a poet, you're gonna read like these beautiful lyrical passages, and in some ways you do, in some ways you don't. But yeah, I could see this really not being someone's cup of tea, but I think that if you want to read about grief, if you want to read about, you know, someone who's just not having a good time, really at any point in the book, this would be a book to read. I wanted to read it to explore, you know, what this person had to say about, you know, life in Russia. And I think that they talked a lot about the poverty. I think that was a really good description, and especially to, you know, not focusing on like Moscow or St. Petersburg, focusing on someone from Siberia. I think a lot of times the West doesn't have an image of what that looks like, and I really enjoyed that. However, I will say, I wanted a lot more politics. There's a little bit of politics in the beginning, a tiny little smidgeling, but it doesn't go as in depth. Like, being gay in Russia in today's day and age, there's a lot you can say about that. And on one hand, I want to believe that maybe there was a concern over like personal safety if you dove into that, but I can't imagine that just saying you're, oh yes, I'm a queer woman in Russia, wouldn't be safe regardless. I'm not saying you necessarily had to question everything, but it is very little that is truly talked about. Like, the poverty is spoken about a lot. The way in which being gay in Russia, like the challenges of being a queer person are spoken about, but like the context of Russia and what that looks like is not spoken about. And I think that personally is a missed opportunity. This is what I kind of wanted to get from the book. But I would like to also caveat that with, I think experientially, being a lesbian woman, like a lesbian cisgendered woman, right? Your experiences could be very different, because people will just be like, oh, you just are like you silly woman, you'll go back to men, don't worry, like being lesbian women don't exist, you know, something along those lines, where there's actually like an infantilization of the female sexuality. I feel like you should think long and hard about if this is the kind of book you're going to enjoy, because you easily might not like it. I liked it, you might not. So I would encourage maybe looking at reviews beforehand. Otherwise, get prepared. This might not be your cup of tea. It is a little boring. Which is a very funny kind of conclusion to make, because I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was good, but sometimes I think I like things some people don't like. But anyway, that's been my review of Wound. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out my channel for other book reviews and book related videos, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!